You're listening to Hello Caller. We are waiting patiently for Zach Pieper to call. He is at the Mayfield Thanksgiving parade today, and he's going to be describing to us the Mayfield Thanksgiving parade, as well as the interior of a typical family home on Thanksgiving. We are broadcasting to you today on Thanksgiving Day, 2012, and so as I wait for Zach, it's looks like it's around 63 degrees. It's a sunny day, beautiful day in River West, and I will just continue to sit here and wait for Zach, and wait for his call, as I have nothing personally prepared for today. I'm just the vehicle for his observations. So please bear with me as I patiently sit in the studio and gather my thoughts and sort of pull myself together for this special occasion of Thanksgiving. I personally will be celebrating Thanksgiving with my family in Shorewood, and I made an assortment of greens for today. Normally I make a sweet potato pie, but my nieces and my nephew, just my nieces, wanted to make pies, and then some of our invited guests are bringing pies and cakes and sweet things. So then I thought, well, maybe we need to offset it with something a little less unhealthy, let's say, and maybe, something simple. So I made greens, and in fact, I didn't even add any ingredients to the greens other than a little bit of salt and pepper. I did this because I thought, well, Thanksgiving, people make lots, there's just so much, food that's heavy and rich and so on. So maybe it would be nice to offset it with a simple recipe of greens. Okay, so we're just waiting for Zach here. He hasn't called yet, and I'm sure that he will call because we arranged for that. In the meantime, I will try to send out a Twitter feed to people about today's show, and maybe we'll get some tweets from people who are also celebrating the holidays and maybe have things to say in lieu, not in lieu, but in conjunction with the day. So just sit back and relax. You may yourself be preparing to go eat something today. Some people are perhaps not having Thanksgiving with their families. For some people, having Thanksgiving with their families is not always the most pleasant experience, maybe, for some people. For other people, maybe their families are far away, or they don't have family members that are accessible for Thanksgiving. And so, we should always keep. I always think about people like that when I think about Thanksgiving. People who don't have anywhere to go, and what a kind of lonely feeling that must be. seems a little bit unfair in a sense to have a celebration that leaves certain people out. But then again, whoever said that life is fair? Things just happen. But that's not to be callous. It's just to say, you can't have, what are you going to do? Create a rule that says you can't have Thanksgiving unless everyone can celebrate it? That would be nice, but it would be very upsetting to a lot of libertarians. At the same time, I think that it's important to think about maybe there is a celebration out there that everyone can celebrate. Now that I think about it, I can't really think of one besides maybe New Year's. Again, it's like, well, New Year's could be a terrible experience if you don't have any friends, or, well, it's generally a terrible experience anyway. Such a raucous holiday. It involves drinking and partying too much. One of the most dangerous holidays in America, I would guess. Halloween is a nice celebration because at Halloween we can it's one day where we can hide our identities or change our identities, and I think there's something kind of something very liberating about being able to change your identity. To, if you want to be a woman on Halloween and you happen to be a man the rest of the year, you could be a woman. If you want to be a homeless person on Halloween and you happen to be a millionaire, you can be a homeless person on Halloween. If you want to be a prostitute on Halloween and you've always been not a prostitute, you can be a prostitute on Halloween. If you want to be a dock worker on Halloween and you've always been someone who worked in an office, you could be a dock worker on Halloween. If you wanted to be a bear on Halloween and you've always been a human, you can be a bear on Halloween. And so that is kind of a cool thing. Also, you can disguise your face. You can meet a person. I've met people on Halloween for the first time and had kind of strangely deep experiences with someone who I don't know their identity, and I think that's kind of special. But of course, today is Thanksgiving. It's not Halloween. And Zach Pieper has not yet called, but we're waiting for him to call it and to let us know how the parade is going in Mayfield. Mayfield has a parade every year, a Thanksgiving parade, and it's sort of the quintessential small town parade, let's say. So we thought that it would be nice to let you, the audience, in on that experience, because not many people know about the Mayfield parade. I'll be honest, I didn't even know about the Mayfield parade until this year. But anyway, this is really Zach's time. It's time for Zach to call, and like I say, I did not prepare a whole lot for the advent that perhaps Zach would be busy and not able to call. Maybe maybe there were a change of plans. Maybe they're having trouble with the turkey, basting the turkey, or perhaps the oven was set too high, and maybe Zach is dealing with some kind of small Thanksgiving emergency right now. It's possible that he is helping his mother in the kitchen or helping his father in the den, preparing some of the tools needed and accoutrement that are used during the Thanksgiving feast. Possibly Zach took a nap and has lost track of time. All of these things are subject to, well, obviously, I mean, it could be anything. But anyway, I feel as though I'm talking just for the sake of talking, and I don't think that that benefits any of us. So we'll just quietly wait for Zach to call. The streets are quiet today. There aren't many people. I see Taylor and Liz are walking down the sidewalk. Taylor and Liz are a young couple. Taylor is fond of the latest multimedia entertainment, and he is generally an upbeat, charming sort of fellow. Liz is also always in a upbeat mood, generally very, very amusing, let's say. And I have Zach here on the phone. Hello, Zach.
Hello. How you doing?
Good. How are you? We are live right now. Were you going to call in on the call-in phone?
Oh yeah. Hold on 1 minute, and I'll get ready. I'll switch right over. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. All right. So Zach is calling us now, or will be calling us in a second. So we're anxious to hear from him. In the meantime, this is some inspirational music for our listeners. It's an epic score called I Still Have a Soul by the Magnolia Company. And Magnolia Company has a show every Thursday at 10 p.m. Hello?
Hey there.
Hey, Zach, how are you doing?
Good, great. I'm at the parade. It's terrific. As you can hear, there's a lot of excited people here. Hi.
I'm turning down my music on this end. I had some inspirational music.
Oh, wow, yeah. Well, yeah, we're just having a great time. There's a little kid shooting bubbles at me right now with a bubble gum. That's the sound that you're hearing.
Well, good evening, everyone.
I hear police sirens. Are they parading police cars?
Oh yeah, they're all over the place. Yeah, they're everywhere. Behind the police sirens, you could see just a minute ago in the parade the Obama bobblehead, the giant Obama head, was behind that, and the police sirens are coming up behind it. Very exciting. Lots of little people having a good time today. Ooh, here comes the, oh boy, look at, they're getting excited now. Here comes the Hunters Association.
Oh, and do they, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
There's a tree on a flatbed, and looks like there's a couple tree stands in the tree, and there's the guys in the bright blaze orange, and they're waving at us. Hi, guys. Yeah.
Now, Zach, tell me a little bit about the parade. This happens every year?
This happens every year here, and a lot of creativity that goes into it. There's a lot of things that you can count on seeing. Like I said, one is the Hunters Association. The other thing, as you can see, is we also have a flatbed full of garbage cans, reminding you to throw things away. Simply a flatbed being pulled full of garbage.
What's your stage? What's your stage
and Well, we're kind of reaching the tail end of it now, to be honest with you.
All right.
Here come Yep, here they come. Here come the little dogs dressed as angels, and they're trotting up behind. With their owners, they're smiling and waving. Hello, looking beautiful, looking wonderful. There's a lot of little dogs, little Shih Tzus here. And they have on a little costume. There's a tiny little wire halo put above their head, which I believe was donated by the local Celtic Mist craft corner store.
Broadcaster, and I feel
little Celtic, little halo over them there. Some of the dogs are actually tattooed by a local tattoo parlor as well. You can see some of the dogs have wonderful bicep tattoos done in the traditional Celtic manner, and people are loving them, and they're looking terrific. Now, here we come. Oh boy, here's one of my favorite parts of the parade every year. The Milk Queen, and she's coming right now, and this year the Milk Queen is Sandy Schumacher.
Oh wow! I thought I got confused there a second because there's Mary Schumacher, but she's the art critic for the Milwaukee Journal. She wouldn't be out there.
Right, no.
But maybe there's a relation.
I doubt it. We're really out here in the middle of nowhere. There could be. We're all kind of related in some way, aren't we?
True.
But yeah, the Milk Queen is looking wonderful. She's dressed completely in green and gold, the colors of the Green Bay Packers. And she is holding her jug of milk there, and she's pouring a little bit out.
Now
this is another interesting tradition, Bob. I don't know if you told the viewers about this, the listeners. The town priest, Father Morris, is going to come over, and she's going to be jumping. Now, you see Father Morris comes up to the float, the parade grinds to a halt, and the Milk Queen, dressed in green and gold regalia, produces a kind of like bucket. Okay. Yeah, that looks like what's happening here. Right. Yeah. And she holds up this bucket and dumps.
So wait, what does the bucket represent? Oh, it represents the milk.
Oh, there's milk inside of the bucket.
Actual milk. It's not like confetti milk. It's
no. It's actually interesting that you bring it up. It's the milk of.
So is this milk? This milk is pouring out on the ground?
As well as
no. Okay, we're waiting for Father Morris. There's a lot of kids in front of me right now because they dive for the candy, you know. The bigger kids are standing in front of the smaller kids, and they seem to be forming a kind of net for all the candy that's thrown earlier in the parade. But no, Father Morris is walking right now up to the float, and I can see him there. Yes, there he is in his vestment, and he goes up to the float. The parade grinds to a halt, and the Milk Queen will be dumping, sort of baptizing the town priest, if you will, with some milk from her jug. And you'll hear a cheer from the crowd in a few minutes. As soon as that milk. Okay, she's lifting it up.
Jacob is going to pronounce.
I'm getting some. I just got tweeted some pictures too. That's really cool. I don't see the milk jug yet though.
It's a little known custom out here in a lot of rural Midwest areas, which is the Milk Queen will sort of baptize the town priest. Usually in the town colors or the colors. You know, it used to be the town colors.
So they color the milk?
He said.
Yeah, the milk is also colored with food dyes. You know, this is green and gold milk, and you know, I'm a little disappointed because, to be frank, last year's in the parade, the milk was colored red and white, which is the color of the town mascot here in Naval, Wisconsin, which is the cardinal. But as the years have progressed and the Packers became a better, more viable team, it seems as though. It seems as though that pretty much they've just switched everything over to the Packers now. So everything is colored Packers colors. I saw Packer camouflage earlier on one of the hunters in the Hunters Association deer tree stand float.
Right, and speaking of camouflage, I've heard that the Mayfield Parade often has a large military parade within the parade.
Yeah, that happens a little bit earlier. Usually there's a lot of reserve members and a lot of, to be honest with you, a lot of the kids in town just sort of put on camouflage clothing and march. They don't particularly, they don't even really line up. They just all sort of walk together, to be honest with you. Well, you have the Lions Club and the VFW, the Veterans Club.
Do you know what the history of the Lions Club is, Zach?
I'm glad you asked that because there's a lot of theories about it. I believe that the Lions Club...
position on the parade deck is the adjutant for today's parade. He is Candidate Waldman of Golf Company, 1st Platoon.
Did you hear that? I'm sorry, Zach, are you still with me?
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah. What was that?
It's another announcer. It's sort of annoying. There's a lot of... I'm sort of standing on one side of the parade here where there's like the people with the cameras and the local news. I see TMJ4 over there. I see the van. Hey, Charlie. Hey. See, they're not ignoring me.
Are you going to have the Schlitz 40 horse hitch Schlitz?
The 40-inch...
The 40 hitch.
Schlitz sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we missed that. That was earlier. I'm sorry, I was having trouble with the phone line. That was earlier.
I
earlier.
see.
We did miss that. Sorry. But it was terrific. It was 40 inches. It was incredible. The hitch was long and very shiny and sort of gold.
And it's
sort of
rare,
pale
right?
gold.
I mean, that is something that is usually kept in the museum, the Mayfield Museum, under kind of lock and key, right, all year long. They only bring that out once a year.
Yeah, they bring that out once a year. Same thing with the Milk Queen's milk jug to baptize the town priest. Yeah. There's also an interesting thing. They used to do this, but the city councilman decided it was too valuable. But they used to have a gold Tommy gun that was sort of embossed in sort of gold that was believed to be left by Dillinger on his way up north. That was one of the things in the Mayville Wagon and Carriage Factory, which is actually like an interesting little museum. It used to be a wagon and carriage factory, but they had the gold Tommy gun. They also had an autographed signed portrait of President Kennedy, JFK. Yeah.
How many
Very
people
large.
would you say are out in the street right now, Zach?
Right now, a lot of young people out here, and then behind them, further back, are some elderly people standing near the curb, sitting on the benches, and then we have another layer, which are the drunks and the burners, and they're sort of laying around.
Are the drunks and the burners an acknowledged group of people, or?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, just sort of the dregs of the town here. You know,
Would you call them the river rats?
Oh yeah, I did mention that the other day. Yeah, yes, they definitely are the river rats. Yeah, the people that live near the river, extremely low incomes, or like sort of functioning alcoholics. Some of them work at the 7-Eleven. Some of them, you know what I mean? They're around.
And how are you getting around? I heard that you rented a golf cart.
Yeah, I've been on a golf cart. They're really surprisingly cheap to rent around this area. Beautiful area. Lots of hilly, slightly hilly enclaves and whatnot. But yes, gorgeous area. And I'll tell you this too, really cheap to rent a golf cart. You'd be surprised. A lot of people that might come to visit Mayville might want to look into renting a golf cart.
How much was it, if I could ask? With the deposit.
With the deposit it came to, let me pull up this piece of paper here. With the deposit came to about 85. Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, that was my dry cleaning bill. Hold on. Oh yeah, with the deposit, $300. Not bad for a golf cart like this.
Right.
I mean, it is one of those.
And what if is there an overdue fee? Is it 24-hour rental, or how does that work?
I get this for a week, so $300 for a golf cart for a week. Not bad, right?
That's pretty good. So you can actually run errands and so on in the golf cart.
Yeah.
After this.
Oh, absolutely. I think what I might do. Looks like the parade is wrapping up here. Oh, here comes the ceremonial last part, which everyone loves. Yes, and who could forget it? It's the chimney sweeps. Here they come.
So people actually are still sweeping chimneys in Mayville?
No, actually they don't. There's just a very interesting, no one really is sure where it comes from, but there's a sort of cultural fascination here with the Mary Poppins film. A lot of shall we say, the homespun class, the stay-at-homers, which there are a lot of. You know, you move up to Breckenridge Street, you move out a little bit towards the west side, you get near the woods a little bit, you get up to German Street, A lot of shut-ins, and there's a lot of love here that's just been passed down from generation to generation for the Mary Poppins film.
So are you far from Main Street, downtown?
I am on Main Street right now.
Oh, you are on Main Street. And,
yes, absolutely.
And can you tell me, just give me a sense of what we see from your vantage point? What does Mayfield look like? Mayville, I'm sorry, I called it Mayfield.
Well, I'm standing on the north side of town. I'm looking straight down. It's a straight little Main Street. You're going to see a bridal shop and boutique first, and then there's also a fountain, which I believe was a gift of, I want to say, the Ziegler family back in the 1940s. They were, Mayville was hit in a lot of other economies during the Great Depression, and it did sort of surge in some local economies. Back then, we still had an iron mill. But yeah, looking straight down, I just see a beautiful little straight line, symmetrical arrangement of candy-colored, with the original facades from back in the 1920s, in the teens even. Like, a lot of these buildings have just been restored over and over again, and they look the same. But you just look down, it's just a straight line of some small shops. You're going to see a little fountain, as I mentioned, the Ziegler fountain. And then a little further out there is a bridge, which crosses over the Rock River Bridge. The Rock River, essentially starting up near Minneapolis, traveling down through Fort Atkinson, and continuing on a slight easternly slant through the state through Wisconsin. Through Mayville, Wisconsin. That's the Rock River right here, and it's wonderful. Little river is slightly green colored. I'm seeing a lot of different people out here, and it's been great to be out here. I don't know, would you like me to take you back to my family's house and give you a tour of Pieper Manor?
That would be wonderful, Zach. I would really I think we would all really appreciate that, because what we're getting is a sense of Mayville and what it's like on Thanksgiving, because Mayville, I think we both kind of agreed about this, is sort of the quintessential America, the American town for Thanksgiving.
That's true. People say that, and I don't know if this is true. You should look that up on if you're near your your multimedia command center, which I'm sure you are. If you're near the multimedia command center, look this up. David Lynch was rumored to have used Mayville visually, come here and taken pictures as a model for Blue Velvet, I believe, the Blue Velvet film. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I'm looking it up, and yes, that is confirmed. Yeah, that
it is really.
Right, that David Lynch did use Mayville as the model for Blue Velvet, which...
No, I'm serious, he really did.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right here on Wikipedia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, so I don't know why we don't talk more. I don't know why we don't have a bronze statue of David Lynch here.
Right,
but anyway.
Well, I was going to say of Laura, but that's from Twin Peaks.
Bye now.
You know what would be great is if they had a bronze statue of the guy of oh my God, of the killer in the film.
Oh, the killer from Twin Peaks.
From Blue Velvet.
Oh, Blue Velvet. Oh, you mean Hopper?
Yeah, Dennis Hopper with the mask on.
Oh yeah.
With an oxygen mask.
At first I thought you were going to say it'd be great if there was a bronze statue of Laura Palmer.
That's what I did say at first. I'm terrible with names, so I was just searching and searching.
Well, once you're in a Lynch movie, you're just kind of all one of a piece, aren't you? Really, in the end, you're an eccentric.
And
Hollywood eccentric.
Yeah, I guess he is. Yeah, definitely.
Well, okay, I'm gonna lose you for just a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna give you a call back from inside of my parents' house.
Okay.
Mayville, Wisconsin.
Meantime, we'll listen to a little bit more of the inspiration music here.
Wonderful.
By a band called Capricorn from River West. And I'll let you go, Zach. Give us a call in a minute.
Okay, I'll be regrouping with you shortly once I get on this golf cart and head on over to my parents' house.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. And as a matter of fact, Capricorn worked with David Lynch on some ideas for music for his most recent film, which is as yet untitled. But they just texted me that they actually were a little bit involved in sound design and music design for David Lynch's newest film, which I believe does take place partly in Middle Wisconsin.
They ought to be right.
And we are waiting for Zach Pieper to call.
When profit derives from ordinary people, the leadership benefits from their success. When leaders and ordinary people each achieve what is appropriate for them, and their common success will be easy to nourish, so the way is attained. When people have many desires, that
He's on his way from the parade to his house, so it'll take a little bit of time, but he should be there very shortly.
therefore, an orderly country enjoys things conductive to survival, while a cruel country enjoys things that lead to destruction. Water that flows downward becomes deep and wide. Rulers who lower themselves to their subjects become perceptive and usurped. When rulers do not fight with their subjects, then the way of life goes to them. So the rulers are the roots, and the subjects are the branches and leaves. Branches and leaves never flourish without good roots. That was chapter 113 from Wen Tzu, Understanding the Mysteries, Further Teachings of Lao Tzu, translated by Thomas Cleary. Continuing from last week's reading,
You're listening to Hello Caller.
Pale Horse,
The
from chapter
leaves are
U.S. Army Intelligence
circling
Division,
on the ground
Satanic Journal.
in a
From PSY
dance
to Mind War,
of
The
spirals
Psychology of Victory by Colonel
and
Paul E. Valley with
eastward
Major Michael A.
gallop.
Lieutenant Colonel John
Small
Alexander's military
cartons
review article
of milk
in support
are scurrying
Psychotronics, intelligence, and
in pirouettes
operational deployment of ESP was
along
decidedly
the
provocative.
gray
Criticism of research
cement.
in this area, based as it
A
is on
squirrel
existing frontiers of scientific law,
jaunts
brings
across
to
the
mind
street.
the laughter that
An
greeted
orange
Italian scientist
compact car
Spallanzani in
heads
1794
west.
when he suggested that bats navigate
Another
the dark
car.
by means of what we now call
Everything swirls around the fire hydrant, yellow
If
with
they
chip
see
paint,
with their ears, then do they hear with their
pieces
eyes?
of tape
Went the joke.
flutter in the wind.
But I suspect that the U.S. Navy is glad
The leaves
someone took the idea seriously.
of 2012 have lost their green
in its
and
infancy, but the U.S. Army already
they've
possesses an operational
desiccated
weapons
and
system designed
fallen
to do
from
what
the
Lieutenant Colonel
now
Alexander
bare branches
would like
as
ESP
blue
to do,
sedans
except
head
that
east
This weapon system uses existing communications media.
towards
It's
2013.
of neutral and enemy individuals,
There are
and then to change them in accordance with U.S.
the remnants of
does this on a wide scale, embracing
a day,
military units, regions, nations,
the hope
blocks.
of
In its
tomorrow,
present form, it is called psychological
and
operations.
the ring of a motorcycle.
Does PSYOP work, or is it merely a cosmetic with which field commanders would rather not be bothered?
The sun,
Had that question been asked in 1970,
through
the answer would have
hazy
been that
cloud,
PSYOP works very well.
fair,
In 1967 and 1968 alone,
bids
a
its
total of 29,276
farewell till tomorrow
armed Viet Cong, NVA, the equivalent of 95
as
infantry battalions,
sad
surrendered to
memories
ARVN or
combined with bittersweet
MACV
thoughts.
forces under the Chiu Hoi Amnesty Program.
bike by.
The major PSYOP effort of the Vietnam War. At the time, MACV estimated that the
I'm looking at
same number of enemy
a Mystic
troops in
Forest
combat would have cost us 6,000
right now,
dead.
with its
On the other hand, we lost the war.
laden
Not because we were outfought,
fog
but because we were out psyoped. Our national
just above
road to
the
victory was attacked more
river
effectively than we attacked
and
that of the North Vietnamese
herbs.
and Viet Cong. And perception of this fact encouraged the enemy to
Everything
hang on until
slowly
the United
fades
States
to dark,
finally broke and ran for home.
and then a dark red.
So our PSYOP failed. It failed not because
Am I
its
in a
principles
bloodstream?
were unsound, but rather because it was outmatched by the PSYOP of the enemy. The Army's efforts
Classical
enjoyed some battlefield success.
solitaire
MACV PSYOP
of time.
did not really change the minds of the enemy populace, nor did it defend the U.S. populace at home against
If you have any
the enemy.
additions to this Thanksgiving
The enemy's PSYOP was
Day
so strong
themed
that it, not
program,
either armies or better
call
weapons,
us. It's
overcame all the
414-935-2951.
ACAVs and B-52s we fielded.
And we'd just like to remind you that Milwaukee Pet Services is committed to providing pet parents comfort in knowing that their pets are cared for by experienced pet care professionals. We care for the well-being, happiness, and safety of your pets while loving and protecting them like they are members of our family. Come into Milwaukee Pet Services for a menu of services, vacation visits, dog walking, and check us out on Facebook.
Battlefield devices of this sort have their place, but it should be that of an
And
accessory.
I believe that Zach is now calling us on the line, and so I will be answering his call. Hello? Hello, caller.
Hey there.
It must
I'm just walking in now.
Oh, okay.
And it must attack and ultimately
Okay.
destroy that
I'm walking down some stairs and I'm at my parents' house here.
How many people are going to be at Thanksgiving today, Zach?
But it is a type
today,
of war which is
well,
fought on a far more
there's
subtle basis
one-
as well, in the minds of the
Only
national
six,
populations.
Only? Oh, okay. So I thought I was imagining just you and your
So let us
parents,
begin
but it's
with
you have
a
your siblings. Is that what it is?
Oh yes, I have
We
two
shall rid
siblings. I have a
ourselves
sister
of the
named Jennifer and a sister named Elizabeth, and I also have a nephew
concept
named
of
Aiden.
psychological
Oh, wow.
operations.
2
In its
years
place, we
and 3
shall
months.
create mind war.
And
The term
he's
is
in another
harsh
room right
and
now trying to
fear-inspiring,
sleep. They're trying to
and so
force
it
him
should
to
be.
sleep. My
It
sister's
is a
sitting in
term
front of a
of
large
attack and
plasma
victory,
screen,
not
and I believe
one of
the Lions are playing
rationalization
someone.
and coaxing and
There's some football
consolation.
happening. I just walked
Consolation.
downstairs right now, and if you
The
just
enemy may
follow
be
along.
offended by it. That is quite all right, as long as he is
Yeah, there's a lot of
defeated
neat
by
little.
it.
For some reason, I know
is
people
offered.
like to do this, but
Mind war
there's a
is
huge
the deliberate,
collection of
aggressive,
Borden.
convincing
You know,
of all
Borden's the cow, or
participants in a war
Borden's.
Mm.
that we will win.
Is
Yeah.
that sounds related to the Milk
It is
Queen?
deliberate in
It's
that
sort of interesting, but yeah, there's
systemic and
do you remember
comprehensive
Borden?
effort
Where there was like a little cow named
involving
Elsie.
all
Mhm.
levels of activity.
Are you aware of this?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, of course.
Right. And
It
so
is
like
aggressive
they
because
collect
opinions and
all these
attitudes
Borden items.
must be actively
There's,
changed
sitting
from
on,
those antagonistic
Like they have all these like they
us
have Elsie's.
to those supportive
dairy
of
truck.
us if we are to
There's a
achieve
little
victory.
tin truck.
We will not win if we contend ourselves
But
with
very
countering
detailed,
opinions
highly
and
detailed,
attitudes
highly
instilled by
lifelike.
enemy
There's even little
governments.
crates of milk that you can take out of the back of this little milk truck.
We must reach the people
And,
before they resolve.
So these are sort of like commemorative
Yeah.
plastic or metal or
No, they're metal, and some of them actually do date back to the 1930s, where they were toys sort of made for children, although back in those days, toys were made often out of metal, as opposed to plastic. And these were saved, they were scavenged by, I believe, my father from I don't know, they were probably one of his older siblings or older cousins' toys. We're not sure what household it came from, possibly somewhere around Germantown, but he sort of saved all these little Borden things because my great-grandfather, with the last name of Fuderlieb, used to be a door-to-door milkman. He was a Borden's milkman. So my father saves various Borden's, Borden's products that have the design logo of the old Bordens from back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s when he was a Borden's milkman for years. And so he has these sort of Borden's paraphernalia, including lots of things featuring Elsie the cow or Elsie the cat, the small cartoon-looking cat which winked at the viewer, and is on the side of all these toy metal trucks, toy metal milk trucks. Right.
And is this in the den? What room are you in?
I'm actually walking down in the basement to a storage area because I want to delve into, literally my subconscious. I want to see if I can find things I owned when I was a young man that I forgot about, or even as a child. There's a large storage area. What I've done is I'm walking. This is a small landing on the right side of the staircase that goes down into a sort of basement sublevel of the house. My parents just recently moved out of what was the house I grew up in.
Oh, really? So this isn't the house you grew up in?
No, this is a house that they just recently had built, just on the outskirts of town. That's why it took me a while to get the golf cart up here from the parade downtown.
I think that's part of why Americans maybe, it occurred to me that talking about the Palestinians and the people in Palestine whose homes are taken away from them, it's something that Americans have a hard time relating to, just because the way that the news is delivered to us doesn't really give us a clear picture. But one thing I would
imagine nothing other than a bunch of Arabs running around yelling on a dirt-covered road. That's essentially what we're.
Yeah,
I don't think people even imagine that they have homes.
Right. You're correct. Probably in some cases that might be the way people see it.
It is hard to imagine what another fellow American is imagining.
Right.
It's a dangerous enterprise.
And I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I was thinking about how Americans don't really live in one home for generation upon generation the way that, at one time they might have, and some do still, but in a place like Palestine, I believe homes are sometimes passed on for many, many generations, and the idea of losing a home is much more profound than maybe what it would be like for an American to be displaced, because we displace ourselves many, many times within a lifetime.
What would be an interesting exercise is to figure out on average how many times Americans switch homes, create some insane average out of that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Okay, well, I'm in the storage room right now. Should I? And there's a lot of stuff in here, all in different ways. Do you want me to just start on some end of the room and just go through everything in this storage area?
Yeah, but before you do that, can you describe the smell of your parents' home?
Oh, sure. Kind of familiar, kind of like a deep, almost smoky apple cedar smell. If those words make any sense.
It does make sense.
As adjective, it's like a smoky.
Do they have a fireplace?
Slightly dusty. No, it's just sort of like dust. Feeling smell of dust.
Does it smell like what you remember your original home smelling like?
It's funny because I almost remember nothing. No, I'm just kidding. The smell is, I don't remember that smell. A bad memory for smells, except for maybe 2 or 3 smells. I've smelled a few things in my life where that is a peculiar smell, not bad, not good. I don't think I've ever smelled anything like that. I remember the feeling of that smell, but I don't have a smell memory. No.
Interesting. Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, if I do, in other words, I can't imagine a smell, but if I'm smelling something, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's half this smell and half that smell from that kid's basement back in '89.
Right.
Combined smells, if they're happening, I need to be actively in the smell. I can't be conjuring up a smell in my brain. I don't have, you know what I mean?
Right, I see what you're saying. So if you smell the smell, then it conjures the memory, but you can't conjure the smell in your memory. You almost literally have to encounter it for it to trigger your memory.
That's correct. Would you like me to describe some other things?
Oh, please, yeah, please feel free to just take us on this journey.
Okay. Well, okay, on the right side of the room, I'm entering this room. First thing I see, bam, in the corner of the room is a lot of debris arranged in a sort of neat symmetrical island. There are some antlers on top of the debris. But right now, I'm taking a look, and I'm seeing two bird speakers, which are very nice. Bird was, I think, some kind of 70s speaker. My father was briefly in television business, so there's a lot of electronics, a lot of electronic components arranged in various ways. But moving right along.
And are they in boxes? They're like little plastic sliding drawers?
No, they're huge speakers. I mean, these are huge speakers. They're about like the size of like, I don't know, like a guitar amp would be. Like they're very large and tall. Like, and then there's a lot of boxes. There's a fan, a box fan. There's a pastor's hat. There's a small bank I gave to my father, which I always find funny. I gave him this bank once because he's very obsessed with money. I gave him this bank where when you put money in the bank, it'll be like $4.35. Thank you, Dave. And, you know what I mean? But the best part is that the grand irony of me giving him this bank was he's like, oh, I like that bank. That's neat. That's neat. Well, it would simply tell him constantly. He couldn't figure out how to shut it off. It would tell him he used to have it in their bedroom. And my mother told me that it would wake them up, telling them how much money was in the little bank. Like in the middle of the night, it'd be like, you have $2.35. You have $2.35. You have $2.35 in your bank. $2.35. Like, Dave, shut that off. He's like, I can't shut it off. I don't know. Zach gave it to me. I see that as a kind of wonderful irony that I gave him this bank that constantly reminds him, even in the middle of the night.
How much money he owns.
Right, so like imagine that. Now it's in the basement. It's not in their bedroom anymore. Kinda, does it hurt my feelings? No. Does it amuse me? Yes.
Are we going to get a chance to talk to your mom and dad?
I'm not so sure you will because I believe they're trying to settle down a sick child. Maybe I can interrupt them in a little while.
I'm just imagining that you have your mom. Do you call them mom and dad or mother and father?
I call them mom and dad. Yeah.
Your mom and dad and your sister all around this 2-year-old trying to like force him to fall asleep.
They're all taking turns taking pictures of him, speaking to him in a babyish voice, and asking him if he wants different things. Would you want this? Do you want your blankie? No. Do you want your bunny? No. Do you want your bear? No. Do you want your birdie? No. Do you want to watch Trolls 3 or whatever? No. They set them in front of these CGI films. They're like cartoon. Anyway, that's another story. But I want to get down into this archive. I'm not worried about those guys up here. I'm going on a subconscious journey into my childhood. They're upstairs. They're dealing with this child. I don't have a child, so I'm not very interesting to them. That's fine. But here's a box of video. This VHS video. Should I tell you what's in the box?
Yeah.
Okay. This one looks really good. It's a black and white film on VHS. The New Adventures of Tarzan, Volume 4. Serial. There's a picture of Tarzan standing in front of a Native American. I never knew Tarzan encountered a Native American. There's also next to it a small, tiny box of magnets, including a magnet of Hopalong Cassidy, a popular cowboy film star of, I believe, the 1920s, 30s. Here's a Weight Watchers workout series, Low Impact Aerobics, VHS.
This is all sounding very, very, very common, what you might find in a basement in an American home on Thanksgiving.
There's also an empty gumball machine, which is sort of facing me from the darkness, which is interesting. There's also a stuffed buzzard above the gumball machine. It's a stuffed, like, buzzard facing me right above the gumball machine. It almost looks like it's perched on the empty gumball machine. It almost looks like some really bad Klaus Oldenburg piece or something. Like, it looks like a pop art assemblage a little bit, except it's too realistic. But yes, it is a stuffed vulture. I'm sure that my father used it probably for Halloween decorations or something. Here's a VHS copy of the animated film Charlotte's Web. Often how young people are first put into with a parable concerning mortality or something. Ooh! There's a VHS copy of an episode of Lassie, the episode entitled "To Fetch a Thief."
Do any of these ring a bell? Did you watch these when you were younger?
No, not at all. I watched the Tarzan film, I'm sure. I have very little memory of it. Let's see what we have here. Lizzie's abs workout. Here's something called Gidget Beach Blanket Gidget. Wow, that's an amazing cover. It's like a picture of a girl named Gidget, and then below it there's just sort of pictures of French fries. This is all boring. I'm going to move right along here. Here's some old books, including Tom Swift and the Cosmic Astronauts. A series of Childcraft books. Pots and pans. Here's where you really get exciting. Here's, oh wow. If I can just get at some of these scrapbooks, then I think we'll be great. Yeah, here's the scrapbook. Should I start doing the pictures? Oh, this is almost like an homage to Stephanie's piece.
Yeah.
I'll do some pictures here. Okay, opened up this photo picture. Wow, this is amazing. This is like my parents when they're really young and my mom's having some kind of party. The Dayglow apartment, and there's 3-4 women in the picture. They're all just women. I'm assuming they're probably when my mother was a nursing student. And looks like they're just sort of sitting around drinking out of paper cups in a Dayglow apartment. Turning the page, wow, looks like a bride and a groom. The groom has on tinted glasses and he has a mustache, very 70s, large lapels, oversized bow tie. She's smiling and laughing, and her face looks like a smudge. There's 2 men that look Amish that are driving the bride and groom in an old-fashioned buggy attached to 2 horses, and they're looking sternly ahead and differently. One has a black cap on, one has a white cap. The black cap is a derby, the white cap is a cowboy hat. Let me dig out another scrapbook here. That doesn't really tell you too much about who I am. But does it tell you who we are?
It does. I think that's what this whole that's what this is all about, the parade, and then coming to the house and then going into the basement on Thanksgiving. I think it tells us a lot about who we are.
This is an amazing, amazing picture. Now, my father has a very odd passion for electronic equipment, electronics, various name brands of both stereos and television. There's a picture perfectly centered of what, and I'm looking closely, looks to be a Quasar television set turned off. And it's just in the center of this picture in this scrapbook. It's a turned off Quasar television perfectly centered inside the frame of this photograph. Empty, blank, turned off, and below it is the front of a house, a large white, almost colonial front house. No one around it, no one in the picture, just the flat, blank, rectangular composition perfectly centered below the television set, also in the scrapbook. That's very strange. I wonder what compelled him to put these pictures in the scrapbook. Well, this one's very good. This looks like my grandfather drunk. He's above a chandelier. Excuse me, it's a little dusty down here. He's above a chandelier. He has large sideburns, and he's tugging on a wire from the chandelier, standing on what one would only guess is a chair or a table. He has plaid dress pants on. You forget that in the 70s people wore things like that.
Yeah.
Plaid dress pants. You know,
It'll come back too.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
It might already be here.
Yeah, it might already have hit New York.
But yeah, there he is, plaid dress pants. He's tugging on a wire coming from a chandelier. And he's not looking at the camera. While my grandmother is standing directly into the camera.
What do you think he's doing with this chandelier? Is it New Year's and he's preparing something?
Well, he looks intoxicated, to be frank. But I have no clue. It looks like maybe there was a wire shorted out or wasn't turning on for some reason. Maybe he's adjusting the height of the chandelier, but he seems to be grabbing an electrical wire, which wouldn't be doing that, which is unusual. Okay, here's a picture of my mother. Black hair, short black hair. She's holding a beer in a plastic cup, and her arm is around a man who's bearded and also has that particular sort of broad 70s flannel, light green. They're standing in front of what looks like kind of display cards or something, and one arm is around the other. Yeah, it's a nice picture. And they're drinking beer. And, well, this is where it gets really... Here's a picture of an empty stadium. It's just empty.
Is it in Mayville?
No, I think it's Green Bay. I think it's the Packer Stadium. I'm surprised by how many pictures are in these scrapbooks of just like blank object, like just sort of plain, blunt, obvious objects, like just a centered television set turned off. Well, here's an interesting picture. It's a picture of what appears to be a mentally handicapped boy with a small black hat on and a sweater too small for him to be frank. He's standing looking terrified off to the corner of the picture, away from us, the viewer. I mean, away from me, the viewer, and you, the listener. And there's a Santa Claus who looks completely disheveled, not particularly fat at all, rather scrawny, looking ominously at the boy who has what I think is Down syndrome or something. That's an interesting one. Am I rattling on here? Or do you want me to go anywhere else?
Well, the funny thing is that we've reached the end of our show, Zach, but we can keep going because we're actually scheduled till 3 if we want.
Okay, let's go for a little bit more.
Yeah, let's go a little bit more. Let's get a... I feel like we need to take in... We've taken in the basement. I think we got a pretty good sense of the basement. Can we move into the upper parts of the house?
Yeah, let me just move around. Let me just get out of here.
I mean, I'd love to know what's cooking in the kitchen.
Okay, moving on. Let me just take a sip of this coffee here. You know, I find I have this predilection that might have to do with the way one is nurtured. And I love Maxwell House. I love, like, kind of cheesy, bad coffee as opposed to gourmet coffee or so-called good coffee. I love bad coffee. I don't know. Even instant coffee. Is that weird? I don't know. Just something that touches.
Do you like freeze-dried coffee?
Never had it. Never been. I don't know it. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I do.
I don't think that's. I think that we make associations with, things like coffee. I don't think there's anything wrong with having those kinds of pleasures from, because memories are all tied in with with foods and experiences, food experiences.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's absolutely true. Okay, well, I'm gonna head up.
Even more than memories, even ideas. Certain ideas.
Oh, definitely.
No
question.
There's an idea associated with that sort of percolator coffee, the big can of chock full of nuts, or Maxwell House or 8 o'clock coffee. That we forget that there was a time when these micro or these highly refined coffees didn't exist in the States much. No. It was something you'd only experience in Europe or maybe on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, like you said, it's like I could admit perhaps that the quality of these isn't very good, but I still have a predilection for it. It's a sense memory, as they say, right?
Yes, you hit it.
Yes. Moving along here. Actually, it looks like my mother and father are not here right now. Looks like they've taken off, possibly to go pick up my grandmother, who is very old and very senile.
Is she your grandmother on your mother's side or on your father's side?
Father's side. Grandfather died already. She's a Futterlieb. That's the German side of the family. The other side is Polish. Agnes coming at you.
Wait, what do you mean Futterlieb?
Futterlieb, that was my grandmother's maiden name.
Oh, I see.
Yep. Very German. And, wow, I just noticed something on my way over here that I can't believe that my family owns, and I don't know why they wouldn't give this to me. It's a cutting board. And they have this cutting board, and they've never... no one's ever offered it to me, even though it's sitting in this basement. I find that odd, and I'm going to insist that they give it to me. Do you think that'd be rude?
No, that sounds like a good idea.
Should I insist on it?
No, Zach, absolutely.
Okay.
You should
The
absolutely
cutting board.
insist.
I mean, cutting boards are really expensive. You ever tried to buy one of those or look at how much they are?
I remember now that you went shopping for a cutting board. Was it for Critter?
No, I don't know who
It came up. It came up in conversation. I thought it was with Critter. Something about getting a cutting board. Or maybe it was
a cutting
you.
board.
Maybe you just
Maybe
needed
we were talking about it. I just want one, but they're really expensive, and you just want sitting down here in this other room. There's a lot of crap they own that they haven't thrown. It's like they're almost hoarders, but not quite. Ooh, 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 ooh. I just found something I have to share with you.
Yes?
As I was walking through this room to go upstairs again, I could see him through the window that my parents, they went to get my grandparents. There is a school project I did as a young man, which is a diorama with descriptions based on the book The Hobbit. This is really the genesis of my genius, and therefore, you know what I mean? Like, I want to explore me. I want to see where did this all start out, you know what I mean? So in one picture, I drew this picture of these worried-looking goblins. It's actually a pretty good drawing. I was really cross-hatch crazy. I liked cross-hatching.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several worried hobbits being held by goblins with very large fangs. And I drew it pretty well, and it said, "Captured by goblins in a cave," with 3 exclamation points. There's stalactites hanging from the ceiling and little bulbous-nosed demons, and people are pointing at the hobbits, and it says, "Bilbo Baggins is an easygoing and very clever hobbit. He loves the company of good friends. He also loves to relax and eat. He is very peaceful like most hobbits, but dislikes adventures." Interesting.
Bilbo
I feel like
Baggins
the
dislikes
hobbits are
adventures? That's interesting that was something that
I thought about.
But you must be right. Maybe it was part of the story, is that he dislikes adventures, but then it's foisted upon him to go on this long
here's
adventure.
a picture. On the other side of the diorama, there's a picture of a small, sharp-eared hobbit smoking a pipe with a stack of books next to him, and he's barefoot. Looks like there's a small plate of cheese or cake. There's a tiny arrow drawn to the cake pointing at it, and it says, "The hobbit relaxes in his hobbit hole." Below it, the caption I created says, "This book had many..." What? Oh, this book had many settings, which included the Shire, the forest, the last homely house, and the mountain. Okay, and
And what does the picture look like?
it's of a small hobbit sitting on a chair, barefoot, with some books, and he's smoking a pipe. Seems to be sitting next to a piece of cake. Here's a good one on the other side of this diorama.
Now, where are you right now, Zach?
I'm in the adjacent storage room. There were about 3 of them in this very large basement.
Wow.
And I'm looking out the window at the driveway. Everyone's gone. Here's a good one. Trolls around their fire in the forest. There's 2 trolls, not smiling, dark-eyed, furrowed-browed, gazing into nothingness. There's a fire between them, and the caption reads, "Trolls are evil giants who live in dark forests and under bridges. They are very cruel and love to eat anything smaller than them, like elves, fairies, rabbits, dwarfs, and hobbits." Now, I see this diorama as essentially sort of a metaphor. Like, I see the hobbits, my descriptions of the hobbits as essentially what hobbits are, their behaviors, their habitats, their tendencies and natures. I see that as a sort of metaphor for these townspeople that I grew up amongst.
Yeah. But they're almost on the level of rodents.
Yeah, something like that. Like, almost. Like, I mean, they're sort of cultured rodents. I mean, like, well, yeah, no, actually, almost just straight up rodents. Yeah, you'd be right. This is crazy. I cannot believe how many items there are in this basement that totally I could be using. Ooh, this one's good. Here is a train set. I remember my father briefly went through this period where he, like, had a midlife crisis and bought a bunch of model antique trains. Pretty terrific, huh?
Yeah.
But they're all here, and he dragged me several times to conventions, model train conventions, and I can see, wow, what we got here. This is the Texas Chugger. which is a Texas 210-4. It is scale. It's an L gauge, which makes it one of the smaller model trains. Very realistic component parts. It's amazing how many trains are just solid black, which is very boring. I don't know why they made the engines always solid black.
Yeah, that is. But
boring.
Well, with the more modern ones, they would be, they'd
Gray
be they'd be the way that the trains look. If it was a silver engine or a red one with stripes,
Right.
different companies.
Well, let's see. No sign of anyone yet. Ooh, here's the sign of something that I'm very, very vaguely excited about. It's a large box, full of comic books. Let me just pull this down. Ooh, and here's the Game of Life, a family game. There's a picture of a family on this game. And, wow. The father on the box of the Game of Life looks like Peter, only with hair. Interesting. It looks really, sort of collegiate and intelligent. There's a lot of play money here. $1,000 bills. And the face on the $1,000 bills is Arthur Linkletter. For some reason, on the play money inside the Game of Life, Art Linkletter.
Who's Arthur Linkletter?
Art Linkletter?
Yeah, who is that again?
I forgot. Can you use the Media Command Center?
Yes. I'll look that up while you continue to describe.
And then the other person... On the other play money, the person on the currency is a man by the name of Basil O. Cash. Basil O. Cash. The initial being O. He has on a very large set of glasses, and next to him says the phrase, "not negotiable." I would love that phrase next to my picture, "not negotiable." Yeah, there he is, Art Linkletter on this demand.
Yeah, now that you say his name, it really rings a bell. Art Linkletter was a Canadian-born American radio and television personality.
He's on this face.
And he was a
card?
host of House Party, which ran on CBS radio and television for 25 years.
Not bad.
And then he also was a host of People Are Funny on NBC Radio for 19 years, radio and TV. He was
People Are Funny was the name of it?
Yeah, and he was famous for interviewing children.
That sounds about right.
On House Party and Kids Say the Damnedest Things, which led to a series of books quoting children. He became a U.S. citizen in 1942. Wow.
1942?
Yeah. That's like...
Oh, here's a little game I just found. It's called Mall Madness. Hold on.
Hi, yellow. Hi, red. Hi, blue. Hi, green. Hi, yellow.
Attention mall shoppers, there is a clearance at the camera store.
Huh.
There is a sale at the department store. And at the drug store.
Blue, room 8.
Huh.
And is this something you used to... Is this from your childhood or from your...
No, this is one of my sisters.
From your
The
sister.
game is called Mall Madness, and if I can describe the cover, it's like a giant sort of, what do you call a miniature scale model of a mall, I suppose? What's the term for a scale model? A small...
Maquette?
Like an yeah, of a mall, and there's a large fountain in the center where you push on these buttons, and there's a young girl holding what says Easy Money, and it's a credit card that you use to swipe. You swipe this credit card along the mall. This giant credit card along the scale model mall. And the credit card is called the Easy Money credit card, and it's a cash and carry bank.
Well, I wish we could ask your sister if it's had any effect on her adult shopping, if this educated her in some way.
Yeah, they all went to look at my grandmother. I had to pick her up. My other sister had to leave because she works in urgent care.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
intense. I guess in
Yeah,
a
my whole
certain
family
way.
are nurses. My family are all nurses. My sisters, my mother was a nurse in the ER for years, and my sister Jennifer is in the ER, and now my sister Lizzie works in urgent care, and now my sister Jennifer is also going into, I believe, like some sort of nursing. I'm not sure what it.
It's a tough racket.
Yeah, it's psychologically tough, but luckily they're oddly, like, I'm almost like the emotive one. They're all very cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to be that way to be a doctor.
I would think so, yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. Here's a large box with 2 arrows pointing up. Funny how many boxes have arrows pointing up. And it has nothing. It's marked income taxes.
Now, income taxes don't need to point up.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
They can point down.
Well, here's some of the comic books. Let me just take a look here. Here's a Dick Tracy trading card with the caption, "Arresting Lips Manless."
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about him. Yeah, this is interesting. All these sort of trite, these trite cultural bygones.
Yeah.
That we're being reminded
the whole
of.
triteness is particularly interesting, I'm sure.
Art Linkletter.
Yeah, he's on the currency. So I don't know. Let's say you're an artist, Sav, which you are. What do you do with all this information? What would you do with this stuff? What would you do with that Mall Madness thing?
I tend to let it take its course. I would probably just let it do its thing somehow. Bring it in and welcome it and have it just take its place.
Let it ride.
And let it see where it falls. Yeah, that's how I approach things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope that my description of these things hasn't been too boring.
No, it's like the things themselves. It speaks for itself. There's no.
Are you getting a decent picture? I feel like I wish I could just send it to you, but I can't.
You are. You're sending us mental pictures.
I know, but I feel like they're not clear enough. Like, it's interesting. I feel like lately, whenever I go through the description exercises, I wish that I could just. I wish I just knew, like, maybe I could invent new adjectives. Because adjectives are so important, and I wish I could just invent more. You know what I mean?
I feel the same sense of urgency to describe everything in its proper way, or in a proper way, in a way that is actually proper. Has a kind of fascist. I hate when using that word fascist, but it has a kind of strictness to it. I don't mean strict, not in a strict way, but in a way that gets you there. In a way that gets you there. I always want to describe things in a way that gets you to it.
Yeah.
I think that's what all artists and anyone who, I mean, it's funny that writers and artists are the same thing, really, just using a different medium.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. A writer is an artist of a kind, but I mean, the thing is just that it's like, God, I mean, no one can actually be objective in any art. No one can create a complete and accurate reproduction of reality, so-called reality. No one can do that. I mean, even the most realistic, detailed approximation of one's visual sense of depth and sight still doesn't get at something about something. But if there was some way to describe...
Or maybe it does get at something about something, but not everything about something.
Exactly. Anything that gets at one aspect too well seems to somehow be neglecting another aspect. But I don't know what it is. I just wish that I could be so intricately realist that I almost had to invent new words to get as accurate as I could to describe the nuances of this incredibly complex clutter.
Yeah, well, you're starting with a complex clutter of words. Words aren't perfect to begin with, and then to pick them out of the sky and then put them together. It's what is said between the words is as important or more important than the words themselves.
It is, isn't it? It is. I think you're right. There's a lot of. See, this is another thing where I get irritated. There's like a ton of like record players down here. Like, he has like 4 or 5 of them. They're all at one point were expensive or nice record players, sort of sitting off in like a corner, like probably need a needle or something done to them. He never offered me any of these. They just sit down here.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
But did you ever ask?
I have asked before. He'll sort of sigh and be like, "Well, yeah, all right, I gotta fix it though." And then I wait months, and then maybe it appears, and maybe it doesn't. Usually not. And I'm like, "Well, you have like 8 of these. You know what I mean?" Like, what?
Yeah.
Here's a book called The American Destiny, and it's subtitled Manifesto Destiny. Should I take a look?
Yes.
5440 a fight. We all remember that. And there's just a lot of portraits in here. People like Brigham Young. Oh, I don't want to talk about Brigham Young right now. Too soon. Sorry, Rami. Yeah, there's a lot of Canon printer ink here as well. Number 6, magenta, black, cyan. What a beautiful. Do you say cyan? What a beautiful color. Cyan. Printer ink. My father also does something that I would like to tell you and the listeners. Compulsively for years, he writes his name on everything he owns with a black magic marker. I am not kidding you. He writes his name. He has a ladder here that he's written his name on.
And what's his name?
Dave.
Dave Pieper.
That's correct. He's written his name on the ladder. Let me just pick up any random thing. Here's a lamp. Let me look on the bottom. Yep. Lamp. Okay, here's some tools like screwdrivers and stuff. You put it on here? Yes, sir. Yep, on here too. Ooh, beta films. Now, I know you're sick of films. I know the kind of guy you are. You spend a lot of time around media.
Yeah, it is a very depressing subject for me.
My uncle, who is a musician and a folk musician, I found 2 of his cassette tapes down here in the basement from a few years ago. He is, like me, a pop songwriter as well, although he really took it to the max. The name of his album is Totally Intent, and some of the song titles include Up North, Deer Huntin', When I Win the Lottery, 1975 Disco Diary, and Love Song of the OK Used Car Lot. He also has on this tape, which is entitled Cheeseheads Rule, songs such as The Pack is Back, and another song called The Lottery. More than one song about the lottery. Yeah, a lot of beta tapes here.
Yeah, I wonder if one day my nieces and nephews will be finding things I made and...
I just picked up a random beta tape. First beta tape I picked up out of this huge tub of beta tapes. Guess what's on it? Guess what
Steve Martin.
Close.
Martin Lawrence.
No, closer. The copy of
Bill Murray.
Caddyshack, 90 Minutes.
Bill Murray.
Yeah, you did call it, didn't you?
I called it on the 3rd call.
Wow. Caddyshack, 90 Minutes, and Porky's 2, 1 hour and 35 minutes. Porky's 2. I forgot that there were 2 of them. Here's simply a beta tape that is simply labeled Save. You know, I was just thinking that this episode would have been great if we could transcribe it.
What would be? Oh, yeah, well, we can.
If we could get it through a Dragon.
We gotta get Dragon.
Oh, here's a big old copy of a Holy Bible. Why is this one bigger than other Bibles, though? I don't even know if I want to investigate that.
Yeah, shouldn't the Bible always be the same size? Why is it in many different sizes?
It's huge. This one certainly seems huge. That's all I'm going to say. Well, I don't know. Oh, here's a whoopee cushion. Whoopee cushion. Should I
Still
give it a
working?
shot? Let me just give it a shot. No, it's not working. Ooh, here's an interesting book. Mark Wilson's Complete Course in Magic. Huh. It's right below the antlers in the far western corner of this storage area. Mark Wilson's Complete Course in Magic. Not interested in magic so much, especially from Mark Wilson.
I love magic.
Delicious Dairy Dishes. Here's a book that is a book of recipes entitled Delicious Dairy Dishes.
I like that. The title really trips across your tongue.
It sounds good, doesn't it? Liver burgers. Ooh, those sound incredible. To the Modern Woman and Hostess. Kind of nice, kind of nice. I'm into it. Snow White Dairy Recipes, fun for the whole family. And what is it with milk? There's a picture on the back of the Seven Dwarfs, sort of like sort of creating just their profiles, each with a hand next to it holding a glass of milk. Very strange.
So, Zach, in the last 2 minutes that we have in our show, are there any things that we should... how do you think we should wrap this Thanksgiving in Mayville up?
Well, obviously with a prayer.
Okay. Do you want us to start?
Thanksgiving. Should I lead us?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, give me 1 second. I just want to stand above their jacuzzi and bless it. They've installed a jacuzzi in here. I'm not kidding you.
I believe you. So you're standing above the jacuzzi now.
My hand. Okay, hold on. All right, I'll start. Oh, are you ready for me?
Yes.
Oh, most gracious, most bountiful giver, most constantly referred to addressee. Oh, non-participatory, impartial committee head chairman of all and most unnameable, ineffable, and inexorable personhoods. I ask you here today to enter inside of me and to be expelled from me so quickly that I don't notice it, so that you surround us meaning me, in a strange vapor of both nostalgia and completely fetishized knee-jerk reactive emotion, so that I may have a non-emotion to combat the emotions that are with me today, surrounded by these objects that of which I am so eternally grateful to have absorbed through my consciousness and to have become part of my present self.
Thank you for being with us in all your joys and sorrows, Zach, for your comfort in our sadness, your companionship in our loneliness. Thank you for yesterday, today, tomorrow, and for the whole of our lives. Thank you for friends, for health, and for grace.
Yeah.
May we live this and every day conscious of all that has been given to us. You were going to say?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was beautiful. I was just saying that's beautiful. On the way back here, I saw Pick and Save that I think was half Pick and Save, half Methodist Church. I've never seen a Pick and Save that looked like this before. It was fascinating looking.
Wow.
But yeah, it's been great broadcasting to you here from the Heartland. Well, I don't think you can play any of that good old Bruce Springsteen because A, I hate him, and B, we get their pantsuit off. Well, yeah, the feeling is a general feeling of sort of rootiness right now.
Well, you know, I think that we hit the end of the show, Zach, and I'll see you when you're back in Milwaukee.
Oh, it's 3. Oh, yeah, we're done.
I think it went well.